Hello, good
in, we are.
afternoon, and welcome to the Cloister of the Dice. Yeah, now it's working. Never without a botch, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here in the world of Robotech once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your MC behind the scenes. I'm John, of course. I'm joined by our DM, Mildred the Monk, and our players, Kay, Nephenor Frolin, Xenatrix, and R.A. Folks, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. I
Fucking
absolutely love the sound of getting
OBS.
train horns 30 feet from me in the dead of morning.
What's that, son? I can't quite hear you. I'm an old man now.
I'm having fun. I have a plan. My plan is good, I think.
I am scared now.
Good, you should be.
Okay.
So this has been a interesting time, and some may go, wait, it's spooky month. Why haven't you guys done anything spooky? Calm thyself.
Patience
Call
is a
me
virtue,
calamity
dear friends.
in your memories.
Yes.
Reduce the calamity that is thy memories.
But for last time we were on, which was about 2 weeks ago. We would have done this a week ago, but Mother Nature had other plans.
Yep.
Hurricanes are fun.
Fuck you,
I say in the
Milton.
most, I say in the most sarcastic way possible.
Who the hell names it? I hear Milton, and my mind immediately thinks Millhouse, and I don't know why.
You hear Milton and your mind doesn't immediately go Milton Bradley?
No, because I want to think of good board games.
But it's a hurricane, Monk. Of course they named it after Milton Bradley.
Yeah,
It's a bad thing.
Fair, but remember, nobody likes Millhouse. But last time you guys ended up engaging in a joint operation on the moon to assault one of the master's motherships in order to get the doctor back. And in the process ended up learning that there seems to be a bit of a internal civil war going on within the masters. The state of things when it comes to their species was enough to make the diva lose his lunch, and the mothership that you were on getting wiped out by another legion, both of whom apparently really wanted the diva for apparently different reasons. One trying to make a prisoner exchange, which didn't work, and you guys ending up on the back foot of that three-way fight until the UEEF came back.
Hooray.
When you had saw several Tokugawa class ships making short work of the enemy. It wasn't a complete wipeout, but one mothership is completely wrecked. So just when all seems lost, the cavalry comes in. And because of that, behind the scenes, I had to do a bit of updating to the equipment page to also include the mechs and equipment that is exclusive to the UEEF.
Yep.
Or better known as the United Earth Expeditionary Fleet. One that was on its own mission for the longest time, but is now back with something with a continuation of said missions, and that is where we begin our story. So it's been a couple of weeks since that happened. Morale is certainly up compared to where it's been lately. In part because with the UEF back, it means more forces, but also the more advanced mechs that the UEF brought with them.
My baby.
They, of
This
course,
This means more third generation Veritex.
yes. And Sia has been training on a couple of interesting fighters, and also dragging Dirge away from the Ajax whenever Dirge has a spare moment.
Mhm.
You have slept less than usual, Dirge, and for that I can only be grateful to you.
Unfortunately, what you don't know is that there's a bug in the system. We won't tell you what it is yet.
As long as the bug isn't going to screw me, I'm fine.
I refuse to comment.
Uh-oh.
And of course, because I've got so many connections being a veteran and all, I also learned a few things.
Took the time to
I
train.
got more proper training on the Veritex.
Yeah. And while the Veritex you had it as part of the SCA are pretty decent, the ones from the UEF are clearly a cut above.
From the SCA, Monk, I didn't know
Yeah.
that the Society for Creative Anachronism had Veritex.
ASC. So I don't know why I flipped that in my head.
Well, I don't know. I think the
either.
idea of the SCA and Veritex sounds pretty fun.
I think the idea of the SCA and Veritex has all of the knights turning up their noses because they're hidebound, but that's Rails.
Yeah. But I believe, and I do recall that that Sia had something in particular in mind regarding his upscaling of his previous mech.
Yes. At this point, she has trained on the beta fighter, because he already had training on the alpha fighter for a while, but he's been training on the beta fighter because he came up with a crazy idea, so crazy it just might work, and that's why he brought in Dirge. See, normally an alpha fighter and a beta fighter can come together and dock so that they can create the fusion fighter, but that usually requires 2 pilots. Instead, Shia just wants to combine 2 of them and keep the beta as kind of like this jettisonable thing if he needs to, with all controls in the alpha fighter. So it starts docked, but if it ever undocks, it has to stay undocked until he gets back to a ship or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that's going to be the primary hang-up with this thing. It can't re-dock if it's ever undocked out in the field.
Yeah, that would be the balancing act, but at the same time, it is still a lot more.
I
a lot more,
mean,
though I do have the question when it comes to either the alpha or the beta that you're not piloting. Are you using are you having one of them use a drone configuration?
if I ever have to jettison the beta would be a drone at that point, yeah. Because the alpha is the primary controls whenever the fusion occurs. The thing is, there's a reason that you dock these things. When they're combined, the alpha can still transform into all 3 of its modes: fighter, guardian, or battloid. And the beta, all of the beta's weapons except its gun pods and chest-mounted missiles are also now added to the alpha's ordnance. And the entire configuration gets the beta fighter's escape index being a 3 gravitational unit escape index, meaning I can escape Earth gravity on my own.
Mm-hmm. And when and with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if continuing on with that, you had the whole thing painted red.
I mean, there's actually a version of these painted red already, Monk, and that is the VFA-6Z, which has an air superiority version, but it's from the third Robotech War technically. Standard color is red, though.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I would have the whole thing painted red, but it'd still be an H variant, because that forward-looking targeting array is tasty.
Yeah. I suppose the final question on the matter is, did you put in any of the boosters for the Alpha?
You know, I figured that it wouldn't really be fair to do so. But if I was going to put in any, it'd be the point defense booster, just so I can shoot down incoming missiles. Because otherwise, the lasers aren't very good for offense unless you're fighting things that aren't in, Veritex, because they only do light class damage. But no, I didn't add any of them because I figure adding the beta fighter on was already kind of the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm. And as I said before, it means that you're another graduate of the Troa Barton School of Combat. Accuracy by volume.
Absolutely. But there is one other thing I did add, because I have an additional gun pod hardpoint on the Alpha Fighter. I took the UEF's version of the Alpha Fighter, which comes with the EP13 gun pod, and the old UEDF version of the Alpha Fighter, which comes with the GU13 gun pod, so that I have one energy gun pod and one kinetic gun pod.
As you do.
Yes. Now it truly is the Troa Barton School of Combat.
Yeah, remember accuracy by volume.
Yes.
Superior
Now-
firepower.
Mhm. Now, with that in mind, I believe Dirge has his own bit of upscales.
Well, yeah, I mean, you did say that my Ajax is now fully functional.
Mm-hmm. Which I think you're sticking with the Ajax. It's just now it has all three transformations available to it.
Yes, now I can become a helicopter.
Mm-hmm. And I believe there were some upgrades as well when it came to David's kit.
Yep, I have this. Knowing that we are going to be heading into a more, now that we need all the firepower we can get, and considering my style of combat, I decided that I was going to change out for a Cyclone, more specifically the Devastator Cyclone, the Super Edition,
Mm-hmm.
with a super configuration. This way I can lay down the law and keep my enemies in line, while Shia here takes out the problems.
Yeah. And I should note to everyone, the Cyclones are the successor, technologically speaking, to the Modat, the mechs that could become motorcycles, and the Cyclone can do that. It just has it's just a bigger ass motorcycle. And since he went with the Devastator, it certainly got the armaments.
Mm-hmm. And it's a tankier build.
Yeah. Go figure. The tank commander goes for a tankier build.
It's almost like I planned it this way.
No, this was completely out of left field. No one saw this coming.
And Kathier, I believe you had your own. I believe you had went with a different variant of the Cyclone.
I did. I went with the Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
And that is more in line to my particular talents. So I think I'll have a little bit of a better chance at this at combat with this one.
Mhm. But the as I said, it's been a couple weeks since the destruction of the mothership aboard the moon base. Now, one of the remaining motherships had been hounded by the returning UEF, and ended up crash landing on Earth. It just happened to be where Vietnam was. It's been put under siege by the UEF forces as well as the ASC. And as this is going on, you all have been called to briefing with obviously Captain Prawn there, but also a rough-looking man who introduces himself as Colonel Jonathan Wolf of the UEF. Prana basically making clear this is going to be a joint operation. So I was going to say be on your best behavior, but I know better.
This is our best behavior, and damn it, now my favorite Gokujang restaurant is gone.
How unfortunate. But at this point in time, you guys are going to be arriving shortly to a shanty point that in Hanoi, with several Garfish and other Pulsar class ships hovering over the city. As you put down the water, the spirit settles as the ships pulled into dock by the local tugs. While the hangar is now inaccessible to the crew due to being underwater, you're still able to get off the ship. The city itself is in functional chaos due to the ongoing war, and not too far removed from this area, there being a siege going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the even more unfortunate part is the fact that most of the ASC troops that were in this area have abandoned post, and those posts have been taken up by the UEF. As you do head out, you go into a downtown area towards the city's main defense command center, located within a central park. The place isn't well lit, with a staging area being put in kind of in a hurry. And as you go on, you do see a lot of mechs, including Destroids and Alpha fighters, as well as several Boarfish transport ships. So this is another makeshift fob that's made with whatever you can get your hands on. But inside the tent, you see a whole lot of radio communications, display tables, sensors, and networks. Oh, and thank you, Halfdan, for the follow. Hope you enjoy the chaos that happens around here.
There's
Welcome to
plenty of
madness,
chaos
my
to be had.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But within it, this is where you end up seeing Colonel Wolf. He's obviously human. He looks to be of medium build for a military officer. His hair is slicked back, and he has a small mustache. His rank is that of a colonel, just from the observation, and he does introduce himself in a fairly professional manner, but not nowhere near as stiff as Prana, saying, "You all must be Hannibal. The name's Wolf, Colonel Jonathan Wolf. I'm the commander of this section of the UEF reinforcement fleet, the Wolf Pack, as it were. It's apparent that time is against us, but Captain Saloon has informed me that you're the ideal people to with now that things have completely spiraled out of control around here over the last few weeks.
He's Captain Wolf, correct?
No, Colonel.
Colonel Wolf. Okay,
Mhm.
Colonel. Give me just 1 second. I just want to double check a thing here. Okay, yeah. All right. She salutes Colonel Wolf. Commander Shia Jerrig of Hannibal team. I'm not sure whether we can justify having that miraculous of a reputation, but we can definitely make sure to get what needs done when it needs done.
Mm-hmm. I definitely appreciate folks who know how to get things done. And I heard what happened up on the moon base. Thankfully the doctor is safe, but but from the report it sounds like things have gotten a bit more complicated.
It seems that the Robotech Masters have been fighting each other. We're still trying to determine all of the ins and outs, but apparently one side thinks of using the rest of their people as, for lack of a better term, tools, and the other thinks of liberating their people and getting away from some sort of oncoming threat, a threat that they even warned us about.
Yeah, the Invid was it, or whatever the heck they called it?
They did, I believe the word was Invid. Thank you very much there.
Well, I can say that due to the lack of protoculture supplies and our recent reinforcements breaking the back of the Master's remaining forces, one of the motherships has been reported to have impacted the surface of the planet somewhere deep in the forests of Vietnam. We cannot allow the survivors of that ship to disperse into the area. If they do, it'll be virtually impossible to track them all down afterwards. I'm sure you guys are well aware of the still Zentrity problem that's shown up in South America.
Yes, the Zentradi and the Robotech Masters behind them have been making things difficult for us everywhere, but definitely South America has been a hot zone.
Mm-hmm. And if they do disperse, it'll be impossible to track them all down afterwards. Arrest and detain any escapees. You have permission to destroy any who pose a continued threat. In addition, our probes indicate that the vessel appears to be largely intact. It could be made operational again with enough repairs. I believe a joint operation is in order. Hannibal will proceed in first via amphibious infiltration, using the tributary rivers that empty into the basin where the mothership hit ground. Once they've passed through the outer perimeter, they'll infiltrate the command center and take out the command staff. Disable their defenses, and before the UEF forces, led by the Wolfpack, attack and recapture the ship for our own use. Due to the dense nature of the terrain and the waterlogged areas around the crashed ship, the use of air units is a no-go. This is purely an infantry and light battloid assault. The UEF will provide an initial diversion during your infiltration.
Understood.
Seems simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
In that respect, when shall we begin this operation, sir?
You guys will have 1 hour to get prepared.
Yes, sir. If you'll excuse us.
Dismissed.
Thank you, sir. Shia turns to the rest handle team. You heard him. We have an hour. Make sure to gear up, suit up, and get ready.
Roger that.
Understood.
I head straight for the caffeine because I'm gonna need it.
Admittedly, Keikira is right behind him in that regard.
Yeah, but when I get there, I take the pot and I just start drinking it straight from the pot.
You son of a bitch! Let me get a cup.
That
Oh,
didn't
see-
sound like Kay here. That just sounded like something Kay would say.
At the very least, it'd be better to get coffee than those energy drinks you can only get in East Asia.
Oh God.
Which
Kate here hurriedly pulls the pot away from Dirge's lips. Let me get a cup and you have the rest. Got it?
Nope, mine.
Fuck you!
I pass by the mess hall, see this go down. I'm like, all right, you two, we do not need to be killing each other over fucking coffee.
Go to... She pauses. Dave, with all due respect, caffeine is life.
Dirge, give her a cup.
I give her an empty cup.
With
Fill it up.
coffee.
Fill it up.
Hey, you told me to give her a cup.
We do not have time for this right now, sir.
Shia has checked the locator map and sees that they're all gathered at the mess and have been there for a few minutes. So overcomes. Hannibal team, what's the holdup?
Nothing I can't handle, sir. Trust me, I'm dealing with it.
All right, well, just to give you a little bit of a boost here, Hannibal team, listen to what the hell Carswell is saying. God damn it, we don't have time.
Thank you, sir.
Get it out.
You heard the man. Give her some damn coffee. And if you pour it on
right,
her,
one
I swear
shot.
to God, I will personally throw you in the brig.
All right, she gets one shot of coffee.
Kate here grabs the carafe and just tops her cup off. Here.
I hook the rest up to an IV and take it with me.
Oh, Jesus.
If you needed a caffeine drip, why didn't you say so? I could have set you up with one myself.
Knowing you, it wouldn't have been intravenous.
Exactly my thought.
Finish up and get ready. We'll be ready. We need to leave soon.
Oh, Kate here, now that she's got her cup of bitter black brew, is already out the door and getting her stuff.
At this
I
point,
made it-
she is already at the launch bay, setting up his fusion fighter.
Before I leave, I grab Dirge and I go, dude, you've seen how this woman acts. Do you really want to get on her shit list?
Sorry, coffee hasn't settled in yet.
That is no excuse for pissing her off. Learn better. As I walk out, and I immediately turn and walk out the door.
As I get into my mech, I look over at the fusion fighter and I just start giggling.
Shia hears the giggling, looks over at Dirge and says, "I'm telling you now, if this does anything other than what we designed it to do together, I'm putting you through the airlock."
And I pipe in, and after the shit you've already caused today, don't expect me to save your ass.
Shia just shakes his head, puts on his flight helmet, and closes the cockpit.
David follows suit.
I'm not dealing
I
with
just
this
say, I
bullshit
guarantee
today.
there will be no problems.
Knowing
Over
I just
short
think in my mind,
comms.
knowing him, that's not very reassuring.
Over short comms, Kay here sends opens up a private channel to Shia. I don't trust him. Not in this case.
Shia, of course, responding, "He is the damn best engineer we have on this entire ship."
Oh, no, I'm referring, with all due respect, sir, I'm referring to the fact that he kept giggling about your mech. It's
I
gonna
understand.
it's gonna do something we don't want it to, I guarantee it.
But Dirge knows the stakes. The thing is, if it's designed to do something that it isn't supposed to, it's not going to be something dangerous. It's going to be a prank, knowing him. I'll just roll with it.
Just be careful.
Of course.
And as you guys get prepped, you do hear over the comm that the spirit is upstream from the mothership, going on the surface of the water until they're going to hit a river, which is where they're going to be, where you guys are going to be launching.
Okay.
Essentially launching underwater via torpedo launch.
And we're all in Batloid mode, correct? Flight modes have been forbidden, so we're all in Batloid.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's Batloid only. Even Gerwalk would not be advisable.
Yeah. Oof. That's fine. I still have 5 space units of movement in Batloid.
But after launching, you all of a sudden there's a loud vuvuzela noise coming from Xia's mech.
And you just hear David on the short comms over to Dirge. God damn it, you son of a bitch!
Gia resignedly over the short comms. This, sir, is an infiltration mission. How do I turn it off?
It's not playing over outside. It's playing in your cockpit only.
Well, that makes things simpler then, doesn't it? Shia adjusts his helmet microphone so that they can't get outside sound anymore. He can only hear from the audio sensors outside the mech and across short comms.
Out of character, hey, this is exactly the kind of thing I do based on what's happened already.
Oh, I know. It's an easy fix, though. I just have to not receive audio from inside my cockpit. That's it.
But...
And all I can hear is a Vuvuzela version of La Cucaracha.
Well, you wouldn't hear it because, like you said, it's only on the inside of my cockpit.
I don't know, I'm just thinking mentally.
Oh, yeah. That works.
God damn it.
What?
Fucking Zelas.
But regardless, as you guys head out, going through the swampy and stagnant water, you find that the waterway is clogged with flora and fauna, both living and dead. Entangling plants and floating weeds threaten to grab and strangle anyone caught in their clutches. The river is wide, and it's not until it begins to turn and twist that the banks come into view through the muddy water. The winding path of the river becomes tighter and more restrictive as you move on, and moving through the water becomes difficult as the riverbed gets shallower. Above, the shine of the moon has been replaced with the harsh glare of the day, but it's not enough to pierce the gloom of the canopy. The river ends at a waterfall, and since you can't go through the waterways any further, and I'm not saying you guys are at the cliff of a waterfall. I'm saying the waterfall's above you. So the only option is to move out of the water and into the rainforest. The basin that this rainforest is in is dotted with waterways, swamps, and, well, more rainforest. The canopy is thick and heavy and tall enough to shroud inhabitants from air attacks and easily concealing small mechs. Though unfortunately it's all because of the fact that it's still early morning technically, but because of the heavy canopy, it's literally day for night. You know, there's some light in the morning, but it's not enough to pierce that canopy.
Mm-hmm.
But as you do get closer, you do find a few things. One of them, all three of them seem to be as part of a camp outside the mothership. The camp itself has what looks like a large amount of master civilians who are in emergency shelters made of debris and other matters. Though as you get closer, you do see that 4 weapons batteries were stripped from the ships and are used as a defensive emplacement. Each of them is supported by a collection of drones. And because of the fact that those drones are actively searching, there's 2 spotlight drones, which look like a spotlight with legs. I'm gonna need you guys to roll. And as far as what skill you use, that's gonna be up to you. But you do need to explain how you're gonna use it.
Okay.
You're trying to avoid being detected by these searchlights.
Yep.
Well, I can already start us off with this because, given the fact that we're basically trying to, we're dealing with drones with sensors, I could just go for heavy encryption to basically block them from my sensors, or block their sensors from me.
All right.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
And I'm going to fade to black and try to get closer.
All right.
As for Shia just uses counter positioning because he recognizes where they are and can respond to it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Because this is a straight skill roll, all of you are going to be rolling it as normal.
Okay.
All right. Three successes, baby.
1 success for Kahir.
3 for Dirge.
2 for Shia.
All right. So I believe Kahir was going to be getting in close.
She was going to try to sneak in close while still staying hidden.
Yep. You do manage to get close to see that it's essentially the type of cannon that you would see on a ship. That's basically how I described it a minute ago. And you see 1 repair drone, 1 technical drone, and 2 spotlight drones on the defensive battery. But you also see that within the perimeter of those batteries is a transport vessel that's being loaded with troops and supplies. The transport ship appears to be unpowered, seems to be acting as a stationary weapons platform.
Alright, I start relaying this over short-range comms.
But now, as far as the defense perimeter, you are able to see that this is stretching across 300 meters out from the ship, and it is being patrolled by drones and small bands of scout bioroids.
Okay. Alright, yep.
But you also see one thing that could make things trickier beyond that first defensive ring.
What's
They're
that?
essentially making a ring. They're essentially making a ring of steel, just without the steel. Um, as the saying goes, "What's yours is mine."
Okay, so they're trying to set up a barricade around themselves.
Yeah, and outside of that initial perimeter is what looks like a whole lot. What looks like um the communication waves for a lot of remote mines.
Mm-hmm. Now we're talking the
But
explosive type of mines, correct?
it's hard to tell. It's just that you're getting the waves that indicate mines. If it was that easy,
No, as in mines of boom boom variety rather than mines of digging in the ground variety.
obviously.
Just double checking.
Remote mines, huh? The kind that could be hacked.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Big bada boom.
Oh, yeah. Alright, heavy encryption ×2?
Oui.
Yeah, because
I can
of
make
the
it times
fact,
3.
yeah, because of the fact that you're essentially trying to hacking into tech that you're not going to be familiar with. Roll with hindrance.
Would my mad thinker talent have any advantage on that?
You just roll normal.
Alright, so I'm rolling with hindrance. Fingers crossed. 2 successes!
Well, you did better than me. I got nothing.
Well, you do manage to set off a bunch of the mines, and good timing because you set it off right as the wolf pack starts to make their attacks. So,
Chaos on top of chaos. Always fun.
yeah, a whole lot of particle fire, lasers, and missiles slamming away at each other. Oh, basically an echo of a large fight. Which means there's going to be less attention placed on you guys since they're busy trying to take out the ships in the air, as well as the ones on the ground from the wolf pack.
Alright. How close am I in proximity to the, bioroids?
They're already heading elsewhere.
Okay.
They're heading towards the diversion.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's just better for us to head in and do it.
Well, no. I'm trying to figure out who's left around us right now. Both the spotlight drones?
The spotlight drones have been turned off.
Okay.
No need for them when they're focused on defending themselves from the wolf pack's attack.
And the last thing you want to do is put a spotlight on targets that they can shoot at.
Well, no. I'm asking because, one of the things that my Puma's got, smoke bombs.
Let's save those for when we really need them.
Mm-hmm. But continue. But as you do get closer to the mothership, thanks to this particular diversion. And there's two options that you can get into the thing, either through the lower decks or through the main hangar.
Reason Spit says that probably the hangar is probably going to be more well guarded since they're going to expect some ships to come in there.
Alright. Is there an
She,
opening near the lower decks?
think that's what he was pointing out.
In theory, yes, there is. In practice, this is where things get a little bit tricky, because you'd need to find an exit through the maze of corridors in those decks.
Would a scanning sweep give us a rudimentary layout of the ship?
Not f- only to a point.
Good question for you, Monk. Is this the same mothership we were on in the last mission?
Yes, so you will get to roll with you will get to roll with Edge as the baseline.
All right. So
Of course, barring that, you could also just blast a hole in the wall.
that's probably not the best idea, though. I mean, considering. But we're basically right beside the walls themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, this ship crashed here, right?
Yeah.
Then they might expect a few holes here and there.
But the sound of us blowing open a new one after it's been crashed here for weeks is
True. Although they are in the middle of a battle right now, so
yeah. But she is going to use omniprescience to try and find the closest entrance through the lower decks. Since
All right.
he's within the proximity there, he should be able to try and find something.
All right, roll with Edge.
Yep. If it rolls. 3 successes.
It takes a bit, but you do find a way through. It did require blasting through some of the walls inside, but eventually you guys get in and find a lift that is not far removed from the lift that you guys used the last time you broke into a mothership, which means you'll be able to take that to the central city.
Doesn't this look familiar? She is just like, huh. Second verse, same as the first. Let's do this.
As an old comrade of mine used to say, this mission contains action and nostalgia because we've been here.
Huh.
But as you extend out into the armored hull that was once the massive city ship, you pass by what could be described as a sweeping expanse of civilization, art, and tradition blended into a single whole. Marble and stone structures rise and merge with advanced buildings and architecture. Unlike the previous ship that you were on, the mothership that you were on, the Shadow of Intent, this vessel seems much better maintained. Rising out of its center, a massive ziggurat citadel overlooks a mighty coliseum with waving banners depicting flame and sword held high. Their crimson aura reflecting off the luminescent globes, providing light for the immense buildings. But the city itself lies dormant. The people who once lived here are gone, and many of the once brightly shining homes are now darkened with no signs of anyone remaining. Any remaining glory and power surround only the citadel itself. The rest is ash and dust as the simulated wind whistles and howls through the deserted streets. So, but as you get closer, you do end up encountering three elderly women who apparently much like the previous triumvirate, all look more or less alike. Saying, it is good that you've arrived. We've been waiting for you. I am Ebel. This is Ubaim, and this is Fulvro. The Master of the Legion is aware of your presence. He awaits you in the Colosseum. It is not far.
So they've been expecting it. Well, guess we shouldn't keep him waiting, should we there, Commander?
Indeed. So, this triumvirate that we see, they're yet again in a different legion, I'm guessing?
Yeah. It's clear that that this whole mothership is a different legion.
Mm.
Oh. But as you continue on, you do get closer to the Colosseum area, which, you guys have seen what a Colosseum looks like. It's not far removed from that, just not as ancient. But at the base of the Colosseum, within its sand pit, stands a figure awaiting an audience, or perhaps a challenger. He's accompanied only by a single commander Bioroid standing with him, a guard perhaps, or his second. With only a handful of weapons, the figure is evidently one of importance, standing proud and confident, ready to meet whatever comes. You're led down to the area by the triumvirate to him. He raises his head, his eyes penetrating deep. And you, after seeing his face, you realize he's the same person who was on that screen when you guys were on the moon base. You do hear him speak, saying, "Welcome, my Cronians. As I was unable to properly introduce myself before, permit me to do now. I am the Legate, hero of the Empire, great defender of the Troilian people, the master of fire and flame spun on the wheel of retribution, and I come before you, as is proper, to ask you once again. Please, for the sake of not only your world, but for mine, protect the Diva from others. Protect him and flee from this world. I would shoulder the mantle myself, but I am not in a position to do so. I must finish my conflict with the Counselor and ensure a way to protect the rest of my people. Until such a time as I can collect him safely, I ask that you continue to guard him."
Shia speaks up. "Once again, well met, Legate. I am Commander Shia Jedeg of the Hannibal team, one of the many teams here on Earth. You keep mentioning an oncoming threat, but with only those words, we can't convince our leaders that we would need to leave this planet. We'd need more detail. We need to know more about what this oncoming storm could be."
My time is limited, but I can inform you. I can inform you at least on some measure of what that storm is. My people had come into conflict with a protoculture-based race called the Invid. That particular conflict was one that we were far less successful in.
So the Invid are an even greater threat than the Robotech Masters.
Yes. Because of that, many of the legions had to leave our home planet to try and find new shelter elsewhere. But it seemed wherever we went, the Invid followed us.
That's actually rather disturbing. Is there any reason or rhyme for the Invid following? Have you found anything that they could be using to track you?
we don't know how they're able to track us as well as they are, but they will be coming for this planet in time. This is where the conflict between the legions started. You've no doubt met the counselor and seen his approaches that I find personally distasteful. He's thinking that if he has control of the diva, he can compel the rest of the Troilians to obey him, as he desires to set up a whole new empire with himself as its leader on some new planet, and in the process loot this planet for any resources for his own ambitions.
We don't approve of his methods or his goal either. The diva, while we may have had some misgivings in the beginning, all things considered, the conflict between our races, has become somewhat of a companion or friend, at least to Hannibal team. We've even kept other humans from going darker routes. I'm sure you understand that in war, some people would like to do darker things with prisoners. But we've prevented that. Don't worry, we will protect him. There's never any fear of that. And in the event that he should want to return to help the Troilians, he will be free to do so. I'll guarantee that personally. Regarding the Invid, as what you call them, since they are a greater threat than the Robotech Masters, I should be able to at least push some urgency into our command structure. But I still don't know how effective it will be for overall. But thank you. Thank you for meeting with us. And most of all, thank you for willing to be civil. Because war doesn't give us enough chances for that.
It is good to see that you are far more reasonable than the counselor. He moves to speak further, but then he hears a loud alarm beeping, and that beeping is going on across the entire vessel. Saying, "This is all the time we have, my Cronians. You have received my demand. No, my plea. Do as you see fit. I will appear before you again one day to do so myself."
All right. And then Shia looks back at the rest of Hannibal team. Seems like there's incoming. Get ready. We may have to fight. We may have to flee.
You know we're always ready, Commander.
Indeed.
Kahir looks over at Shia. Is there anything we can do to help him?
I think at this point, the most we can do to help him is make sure the diva is safe. It seems the legate himself has a greater grasp on what can be done, and the counselor was already sent packing and running, even back before all this. It's very clear the counselor has a disadvantage in combat with him.
Mm-hmm.
So in that respect, should we be fleeing or should we be going elsewhere? What's the rest of our mission at this point? Since it sounds like the mothership's probably coming under attack by Wolfpack. That's probably what those alarms are for.
It is, and just as you guys are escaping, you end up coming across something worse.
Oh shit.
Because as you guys are trying to escape, you do. On one hand, you do see that several Spartus hover tanks of the Wolfpack are assaulting the base.
Mm-hmm.
But you also see that several of that no, some of the that you end up getting caught in the crossfire with some of the other some of the other mechs that, because of the fact that you're not in Master's equipment, are seeing you as a threat.
Okay, so we're going to be attacked by even some of the Legate's forces because we're in human robotechs, human techs.
Yes.
Oh shit.
And specifically, these are very red and gold bioroids that you've never seen their design before.
Double shit.
But John,
Yep, it's that time again, folks. As I check my clock, and it looks like it's combat time.
Ow.
Darn, I was hoping it was caffeine time.
You already had plenty.
He still has an IV drip going on in his cockpit.
Exactly. You don't need no more.
I've got too much blood in my caffeine system.
That is such a mood.
but because of that, you guys are having to deal with a far more advanced type of ship.
Oh boy.
These are what would be known as invid fighters.
Oh boy.
And there's about 6 of them that you guys are up against.
All right.
All while the battle is going on.
Do any of them stand out from the others? Like, do any of them have anything unique about them that makes them different?
No.
Shit.
You wanted me to go after and take the head down, eh?
I mean, it's been our strategy so far, and it's worked, but in this
Yep.
case, we don't have that luxury.
At this point, it's basically just a strike team. And so, Shia over short comms. Garswell, you've got my back.
You know I do,
Rania.
Commander.
Urania, look for an opening. Disrupt them. Finley, do what you do.
Yeah.
And then at that point, Shia is going to, he's going to do the things he tends to do best, and he's going to get in there and blast away using flash move to his red versus their red. Whose red is redder and who will be deader?
Before you do that, because I want to make sure I lay down, make sure you have a perfect opening.
Go for
Because
it.
I have an equipment suite that I prepared for this.
All right.
Because my Cyclone comes complete with a grenade launcher.
Oh, nice.
And I know, and I've got, and since I'm fully stocked right now, I've got enough to activate my ability, area suppression.
Very nice.
So basically, let's see, what skill would work perfect for this? Oh yeah, it would be undercover your buddy. Which means I'm also activating my defender talent on Shia and my normal dramas and everything else kick in. So this will be an advantage roll.
All right.
And since this will be using grenades, all of them are getting hit. This is a total AoE attack. Rolling. 2 successes.
2 successes. So
Yep.
each of them loses 1 point of armor.
Okay. And so,
You said there were 6 of them, right?
Yep.
yep,
Okay.
yep. When as Dave lays down the covering fire, and Shia then moves in with his, like I said, with his flash move. Obviously dual gun pods because I'm in Batloid mode, and I'm just gonna, as I'm moving in, I'm gonna pound this center guy with just the most threatening fire. Now, fun thing about that, the EP gun pod ignores a point of armor, and the GU gun pod gives me edge in combat. The fact that I'm being an exemplar puts me in my element. And Ultimate Fusion gives me 3 extra skill dice to roll with, and has unlimited uses.
Yep.
This is gonna be fun.
Though, you know, normally I'd say that would put you over the that would put you over the threshold, but since the sheet doesn't allow us to edit that threshold, I'm ignoring that.
8 success. So just moving in, sweeping my gun pods across these guys.
Let's see, that's 8 successes. Taking account resist, that's 7 mech tier damage.
Yep, and I ignore 1 armor with the.
So how many is it? Just the first 3 that the bottom 3 you're targeting?
Yeah, it's the row I'm getting in closest to.
Yeah, and they are all shredded.
Shia looks over short comms to Dirge, goes, and that is worth every Vuvuzela played.
And of course, since he just took out 3 mechs in 1 shot.
You got knocked the fuck out!
Alright, Kahir is going to be right on Shia's coattails, and she is going to aim right about here. She's getting in close, and she's going to shoot one of her smoke grenades. So she's blinding them, but she's also going to be using her, let's see, what's the term again? The CADS ceramic blades on this guy with close quarters.
All right, roll it.
All right, let me get back to my sheet because I had to flip over. Close quarters is 5, and would blinding them fall under Dirty Fighter?
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, Dirty Fighter also gives me something else. Let me double check.
It gives you the ability to fight dirty.
Let's see. Oh, I also gain edge if I attack with a melee attack. So I'm rolling with advantage.
Yep.
Because we have so many abilities these days.
7 successes.
So yeah, since you essentially have two forward-facing arm blades. I almost said forward-flacing. What the hell am I doing?
Or maybe you meant to say forward-facing flaying blades, and you just combined it all.
Yeah. How are you taking out the Bioroid? Basically, how do you want to do this?
Oh, very nice. Hold on. Needed a final sip for my coffee. Kahir is going to leap up over the smoke and start whirling like a dervish, and she's just going to shred the absolute fuck out of the front of that blade before plunging the right hand through the cockpit.
Spin to win. And since it's another one taken out, I think the Friday button is called for.
You got knocked the fuck out!
And I think I'm going to do my usual on the middle one.
So,
Out of
Alpha
curiosity.
Strike. Good.
Oh, go ahead. Out of curiosity, would the smoke bomb give him edge too because blinded?
Yeah, the smoke didn't just disappear.
Five, and it ignores 2 armor.
So that's 4 because of resist, and that's still enough to go through its entire structure. I'm not going to call the Friday button for that because it doesn't hit the complete threshold. But that means there's only 1 left.
Now, I have a question. When
Shoot.
these guys were alive and still active, were they acting in 3s?
No, these are not triumvirates.
Okay, because I was just thinking the way that the fact that there were 6 and the fact that everything seems to go in triumvirate, that they'd be acting in concert like 3s.
Nope, not in this case. But when it comes to that final one, he is only armed with a heavy drum pod, and he's going to aim that at Xia.
Well, she is the closest.
Okay, he's aiming at me.
Yeah, and let's see, that's going to be rolled as normal. One hit. What's your armor's max resist?
1 from each, so it's 2. I
So
think.
yeah, so it's even if it was just 1, it's not hitting you.
Yeah. I think.
So it hits, but
Ding, ding, ding,
it's dinging. It's
in his brain, he's just like, this was the best decision I ever made. With that in mind, we've only got the one guy left, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, Shia is going to use counter position since he shot at me to shoot him back. And since I'm not really maneuvering ultimate fusion in this movement, because you have to be doing maneuvering for it to piloting and maneuvering for it to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I've only got 5 dice and edge because of my gun pod. 2 successes. But I do ignore 1 point of armor.
1 point of armor, so that's 1 point of structure damage.
No.
So not a kill shot in that case, but structure damage is what you really need to be shooting for.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's all right. I got this covered. Because I've got my accelerator rifle, and I did a new skill that I think will be very appropriate here, because I've learned how to master a lot of weapons lately. Call me a man-at-arms.
Oh, God damn it. I'm going to throw something at you.
And of course, because I'm still defending Shia there, both my skills still come into play.
Yep.
So that is a 4 dice roll. 2 successes.
All right. Question: are you ignoring armor?
Let me double check, because I do not know. Here we go. Ignores 2 armor. So yeah.
Yeah, due to resist, that's only 1 structure damage. But this poor Pyroid is getting the slow death.
All
I
right.
mean,
Kehira shoots in, still under the cover of the smoke, and she's gonna sneak up behind him. And yeah, there's going to be a little thrusty action with the right arm again.
crazy.
Close quarters.
All right.
Still rolling with advantage because dirty fighter.
Mm-hmm.
3 successes.
All right. Do you ignore armor?
Let me double check. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I had to see the cat ceramic blades. If that's what she's using, yeah, they
Yeah,
ignore light class armor and deal 2 times light class damage.
Yes.
These are mech class, so that wouldn't apply.
Ah, fuck.
But even with that, that's two mech damage. After you factor in resist, so that would be completely destroying armor and structure.
Doesn't really matter in this case.
Yeah. This is the way it works is damage is first reduced by resist, then it goes straight to armor unless it's ignoring armor, and then it goes to structure. That's the order of operations. So those of you who played way too much Mass Effect, think of the trinity of shield, armor, health.
Yep.
But while under normal circumstances, the truce would have been held. This is more of a case of the UEF is not playing around, and he knows it. But as the battle continues and the eternal flame wind begins to erupt, the fires of its guns ending, its power fading, and the smashed hull finally yielding to the carnage wreaked on it. Columns of smoke rise from the fires of its own destruction, climbing high into the air as the UEF forces descend in growing numbers into the basin. The trees, plants, and even the soil all tremor with the force of countless swarming destroids and veritex, while bioroids clash through the dense vegetation of the forest in combat with batloids and hover tanks. As the battle clears, the last of the masters flee, dogged by alpha fighters nipping at their heels, while artillery slaughters them from a distance. In the aftermath, a cry of victory arises from the wreckage of the devastated vessel from the human forces. As you all disappear into the crowd of human soldiers surrounding the destroyed vessel, heading to dropships sent to retrieve you, the radios broadcast a single word that echoes throughout the victorious forces: Wolf, Wolf, Wolf. And
Out of character. Is Lehman Russ here?
but as the thing goes on, you guys end up returning to the Spirit of Carthage and get informed that you guys are going to be heading to Yellowstone Base. It'll take a few days. You do hear afterwards that shortly after you guys left, the legate had voluntarily surrendered on the condition that no more of his troops would be attacked.
With that in mind, reporting to Agent Vici, she informs him, Agent, the legate does not seek to even fight humans. He seeks only to save the rest of his people, the Troilians, and get them away from Earth because of what he called the oncoming storm. We were able to get further details regarding this oncoming storm. Another alien race that uses protoculture called the Invid, who, according to him, were able to defeat the Robotech Masters and chase them away from their home planet. They're a much bigger threat. I believe that in any case, we should be working at the very least with the Legate. He's shown nothing but civility and calm during wartime, and has shown more inclination to speak and parley than to just outright fight. And then Shia hands him a data chip. This contains my full report. Please report it to our superiors at your earliest convenience.
Yeah, after he takes it and heads to his quarters, but before he can really delve too far into it, Vici hears a knock on his door. You may enter.
Kehir enters the quarters and offers Vici a strained but polite salute. She's still not exactly comfortable around him after all.
Mm-hmm.
Agent Vici, sorry if I'm intruding.
You wouldn't have come to me if it wasn't of some import. So, speak.
I'd like your permission to look in on all personnel files concerning Commander Shiajarik.
Shiajarik. That's an unusual request. As much as I would like to grant that, I can only give what is primarily available, since a lot of that is under USC jurisdiction.
Of course.
You're well aware of the differences in the chain of command.
Of course.
That being said, Hannibal is still a joint operation. So I should be. Could you hand me your data pad, please?
Kehir hands it over.
You see him tinker with a little bit and links it up with the computer at his desk. Then he hands it back to you, saying that should give you the necessary clearance to look it up. I don't know what you're looking for when it comes to Commander Xia, but I'm not going to pry on the matter. Just whatever it is, do not tell me.
Understood.
I'm better served not knowing.
Understood. She turns to exit the door and pauses. Is there anything you need me to look in on concerning our unexpected guest? As it were.
According to your report, the Legate had said to protect the Diva. If that's the case, I don't think any further prying to that will be completely necessary.
All right. Do you want me to speak with the Legate in an attempt to get more on the Invid? Just that way we can at least try to see if there's more about this threat that we can find out? Because the last time we spoke with him, he was, of course, under time constraints. Now there's no such constraints.
The Legate is under the custody of the UEEF.
Damn it.
I have no authority on that matter. And Hannibal team does not have any authority when it comes to them.
Understood. Kehira slips her datapad into her pocket and offers Vici another salute. Have yourself a good day, Agent.
You as well.
And she exits his room and goes straight for her quarters to start looking in on things.
Mm-hmm. So, looking through the personnel file, you find several details that would be surface level. You know, where his service record, where he had gotten his basic and specialized trainings, hit the numerous reports of insubordination on his record.
Kehira lets out a soft scoff at that. Always a troublemaker, aren't you?
And as it goes further, that's where you end up getting a request for a password.
All right. Heavy encryption. I'm gonna see if I can hack in.
All right.
Am I rolling with edge?
No, you are rolling normal.
All right. Duly noted. Okay. Ah, shit. Wrong amount. One success.
You do manage to brute force it, i.e., go through every combination until something sticks. It takes several minutes to do so, but it does
she's
work.
consistently cussing under her breath.
But eventually you find a combination that works, and in the process you end up finding an image of Xia without the mask, which is going to be interesting, because up until this point you have always seen him either with a thick pair of sunglasses on or with his mask.
Kehir sets the datapad down and she covers her mouth to stifle some sobs. She knows Dave's room is closed and she doesn't want to alert him, as it were. She doesn't know how thin the walls are.
But the report that you're looking at is a request to have certain info redacted, but the name on there is not Siaderk. It's Leonhan.
Leodon.
Leovan.
You have a pronunciation guide, Monk. I sent that to you in DMs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you pronounced Jareg wrong too.
Yeah, Shia Direg, or Leodon.
You son of a bitch! You've been under my nose all this time.
The report specifies what happened when it came to the Theoden clan. The fact that under normal circumstances he would be placed under heavy surveillance, but because of the war going on, they can't afford to just turn someone away for service just because of politics. So instead, the report goes that this info would be heavily redacted and not accessible without proper clearance.
Kehir disables the datapad and deletes all the file. Well, before she disables the datapad, she deletes all the files just in case and removes any sort of electronic trace that she was in those files.
Mm-hmm.
fucking believe he was under my nose this whole fucking time. She gets up and walks in a daze down the hall. She has no clue.
Meanwhile,
Oh, go ahead.
in Shia's quarters,
Mhm.
the black box computer starts emitting an alarm. He opens it up, and what does he see but a personnel file being accessed that he had flagged? Well, well, well. Looks like the final leg is in the trap. She'll be on her way then, won't she? He closes the computer,
And
loads his sidearm into the holster and sits waiting.
And right on cue, I'd imagine a knock is heard on the door.
Who is it?
Second Lieutenant Keihiru Anye.
You can enter second lieutenant.
She does so. And, of course, door closes behind her.
Yep. And the privacy screen goes up automatically. The lights are dimmed. Some of them are even out, and he's sitting back in the shadows. All you can see is some of the red and gold off of his suit, and of course, the almost artificially bright red from the mask. To what do I owe the pleasure, Second Lieutenant?
Cut the bullshit, Leo.
Call signs. And should I call you Theo then?
You know my real name. Use it.
You know, you think you're so smart. You think that a personnel file is truth because it's hidden and encrypted. He sits in a chair, fingers tented. You think that a picture is real because it's in that personnel file. And then he pulls his sidearm out and points it at her. You're giving me the last key.
Kay here, without hesitation, draws her sidearm as well. Give me good reason.
Because if you don't, there'll be 3 holes in you, and the last scion of Clan Firinga will be dead.
Is that so?
That is so.
How do you know I even have it on my person?
Oh, come now. Hiding your hair under that wig, being attached to the Information Bureau for the GMP. There are many things I know. And I know how cautious of a person you are. You wouldn't have survived this long otherwise. Now, give me the key.
If you are not Leo von Farinia, where is he?
Oh, you see, your older brother, I killed him with my own hand.
Kahir's hands start to shake. You are a fucking liar.
A liar? Oh no, he's quite dead. Leo von Firinia is no more. But he makes for a good cover, now doesn't he?
Take off your mask and prove it.
You have no power here, nor no power to negotiate. Give me the key, and you don't get filled with lead. Don't give me the key, I fill you with lead, and I report you as insubordinate.
Kahir's finger twitches with the need to pull the trigger and at least fire off one shot, but she
2
holds
bullets
back.
go right by her face.
She doesn't flinch.
Now. Yeah. Now. Warnings are warnings. You might want to put that down before you hurt yourself.
She holsters the gun and pulls up her right hand sleeve. There is a slight discoloration in the skin because normally her skin is insanely freckled. But part of her forearm just looks like smooth, creamy flesh. She peels.
Of course.
She peels back the sleeve in question and pulls out the final data chip. Give me one good reason not to destroy this motherfucking thing.
Because if you destroy it, then we're caught in wars over protoculture for forever. At least with me and Dr. Kirk. There's a chance that we can stop protoculture from controlling the fate of Earth.
You see, there's one problem with all this. You want to know what that is, Commander?
Drop the chip.
Not until I say my piece.
Then stay back at the door. You move an inch closer to your gun or me, your hand moves towards your gun, I will shoot you.
You don't have to worry about that. I'm not killing my own brother. You see, I don't believe you for an instant, Leovan.
Believe me or not, Leovan Firinia is dead.
Like hell he is. Because quite frankly, the good doctor told me himself that he had seen my brother with his own eyes within the last 24 hours when I had a nice little chat with him. And there's only one person it could be due to process of elimination. He had only ever had contact with Hannibal team in the upper and of course the what's the word I'm trying to think of here? The higher
line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
The command structure of the Spirit of Carthage.
And of course the higher command of the Spirit of Carthage. AKA Captain Prana and of course her immediate subordinates.
Oh. And again, you think that because the good doctor tells you he saw Leovan Firinia, that he actually did. Come now. If I can falsify a personnel file, pictures, and I've already let you know that Dr. Kirk is working, what leads you to believe that anything that you've seen is true?
I have my own methods of getting the truth out of people, Leovan. I am not the innocent little girl that you remember. She tosses...
I love that you're trying to connect with a dead man.
Put up a front all you want. She tosses the chip on his desk and removes the sleeve entirely.
Oh, this has been a wonderful chat, Second Lieutenant. But unfortunately, I'll have to ask you to leave and excuse me. I have important business.
Fine. At least raise the privacy screen so I can leave.
Of course. He remotely unlocks and raises the privacy screen. You're excused, Second Lieutenant.
She she exits very stiffly out of the room.
The door slams closed behind her, and the privacy screen and locks re-engage. Leovan, letting out a slight breath, holsters the pistol, walks over to the table, picks up the last chip, pulls out the black box, flips it open. Last one. Clicks it in.
As it's clicked in, you hear a bit of whirring, and then you see on the display Key 4 of 4 received. Beginning transmission. And as you see a bit of static, and then in the distance you hear a bunch of panic because
It is with a warm heart that I come before you today, the brightest minds of our family, to announce that our most momentous project has borne fruit. As you know, I am Egni Firinya, the head of the research and development departments within our clan, and our tireless efforts to tear humanity away from the clutches of protoculture are finally showing their worth. With the creation of this new technology, Earth will finally be able to rid itself of these endless wars with invaders that seek to take our protoculture from us, because we will no longer need it. We have created a device which holds a stable, miniaturized neutron star. Matters then accreted onto the neutron star until it undergoes the process of a supernova, and we then harness that energy. Controlled, stable supernovae can power our fold drives, our robotech, and anything else that we can imagine, and the universe is our only limit. Think of the endless possibilities that such controlled energy can provide us. Resource scarcity will be a thing of the past as we can power anything we want, when we want, and where we want. Additionally, since these are controlled supernovae, we can collect the new elements produced by the reaction, or leave them to build the next burst. There are countless technologies we believe will arise from this new invention. As for the name, we went a little theatrical, evoking the ubiquitous automobile engines of the late 20th century. This new power source is called the Superstellar Combustion Generator, or SSCG for short. The best thing is that now that one is lit, no more protoculture technology or power is required in order to ignite more of these neutron stars. They are self-perpetuating so long as we provide more matter for the supernova process. This is truly an historical turn, and we of Firinga clan will finally give humanity and Earth the freedom they deserve.
And as soon as that broadcast ends, you end up hearing a whole lot of panic outside. Sia and everyone realizes, because this isn't a case where just a few people saw it. Everybody on the damn planet saw that broadcast, and Sia just realized that the black box transmitted it.
Chia is actually, he doesn't care that it's been transmitted, because the fact that the truth is now known to the planet is good. It's part of getting the just recompense desired. So Shia, in the privacy of his own room, is basically laughing. He's just finally, these endless wars can stop.
But in the process, you do the final thing that the black box shows before it shuts down is a set of coordinates to the one base that they couldn't find, one that was hidden on the moon's shadow.
Yeah, I assume that part only was opened on the black box, though.
Yeah.
Which Shia memorizes the coordinates, takes out the 4 cards, the 4 keys, takes out the black box, sets them on the floor, pulls his sidearm, and shoots them until they are scrap.
Yeah. The coordinates, you would know, aside from the fact that it was one of the oldest bases set up by the clan, is where the alpha generator is.
Yes. And now that I know where it is and have it memorized and have destroyed anybody else's way of retrieving it so that nobody else can steal it, I'm ready.
But just as you think things are calming down, you hear a whole lot of chatter in the background, and over the PA you hear all personnel to the hangar bay immediately. It is you, and the voice you're hearing is Captain Prana, and she is very much not happy. As you all head to the hangar, you see that a full tribunal has been set up with everybody on the ship.
Yeah. On the way to the hangar, Shia did take all what pieces were left of those keys and the black box and threw them into different trash receptacles across the ship.
But as you all get to the hangar, which is going to be easier for some than others, like Dirge.
Yeah, I'm already living there practically.
Yeah, you see that everybody's there, and a makeshift drumhead trial is being set up, with Vici apparently acting as the neutral party and Prana acting as a prosecutor, and she is grilling multiple people about whether or not they had anything to do with this transmission. Many of them saying no, going through different people, and eventually getting to Hannibal team, and you hear her go, David Carswell, step forward.
David steps up.
Lieutenant Carswell, let me be straight with you. Did you have anything to do with that broadcast? We know that the broadcast came from this ship.
I immediately respond without hesitation. No, Captain. I was busy speaking with the Diva at the time, and I was as surprised at the broadcast as you were.
You'll forgive me if I can't help but be a bit suspicious. After all, you would have a very strong reason to venture into something like this. You've had your own history of insubordination when it comes to prioritizing your particular crewmates in past units. Did
I
you
understand
give someone anything that may have led to that broadcast?
Out of character, I don't recall giving anyone anything, right? So I should be completely innocent.
You didn't. That's true.
Mhm.
No, Captain. I've not handed anyone to anything, so I have no idea what this is about at all. I understand your suspicions, Captain, and I don't blame you, but I can promise you with all certainty that my insubordinations don't involve something this massive.
Very, very well. Prana looks at Vici, then looks at you and goes, dismissed.
I salute as I sit back down.
Major Dirge Findley, step forward.
I step forward.
I'm well aware of your history when it comes to electronic warfare and your particular talents when it comes to engineering. Did you have anything to do with that broadcast?
Not in the least, sir. But that does sound like an interesting proposition they had. I can't argue with that.
If you were given that information in advance, would you have broadcast it?
No, I probably would have taken it up the chain of command to you.
Once again, she looks at Vici, then she looks at you and go, dismissed. Kehir Ulaine.
You're muted, by the way, Kay.
Son of a bitch. Blanye.
Step forward.
Okay, here does as such.
Did you have anything to do with that broadcast?
No, Captain, I did not.
Are you absolutely certain you had nothing to do with that broadcast?
Not as far as I know, Captain.
You've had a tense communication with Agent Vici. Would that have played a factor in you having any knowledge of that broadcast?
No, ma'am. As far as I know, Agent Vici and I actually did have a chat recently. And I hope, at least on my part, I've ironed out those differences.
According to him, he did say that he gave you something. What did he give you?
A datapad I had asked Agent Vici for his help in locating some information on my brother. He found some small clues, but that was it.
Would those small clues have anything to do with the man who was on that broadcast?
Okay, here. You know what? Give me just 2 seconds. Okay, here, stay silent for a minute. As she tries to think of the best way to, say this. Quite frankly, Captain, the man on that broadcast was my father.
You do hear a bunch of gas from the area.
I am just as shocked as you are about that broadcast. It's the first time I've heard my dad's voice in almost 13 years.
If this were any other situation, I'd be putting you in for a full-fledged court martial on this. But right now, this is merely an investigation. Get out of my sight.
Kehir immediately exits the hangar and goes straight to her quarters because she's pretty sure she's about to be confined anyway, so.
Then, Tia Derek. step forward.
Commander Shia Jereg of Hannibal Team reports, Captain Prana.
Did you have anything to do with that broadcast?
I did.
You were the one who set that up.
I'm the one
you
who
just interfered. You realize you just interfered with broadcasts across the entire planet.
That wasn't my intention. I didn't know that a broadcast would start as soon as I had found what I needed to find. That wasn't my intention, but at least the world knows the truth now.
You see that she is not happy about this. Not because she cares about what was in that, but the fact that this has screwed up, that this has caused so much chaos and messed with the ship.
Yes, he's. Frankly, Captain Prana, I do apologize that this disrupted fleet operations. That was never the intention. But the upside is that now the world knows there's a solution outside of protoculture. And we can end wars with Robotech Masters, with whatever these oncoming Invid are, for forever. By abandoning protoculture and getting a new energy source.
It looks like she's about to punch you, but just before she rears back, you hear a voice saying, "Stand down." As everyone turns towards one end of the hangar, and they see at first someone on a screen, and then someone who is dressed in the uniform of an admiral stepping forward, saying, from this point forward, this particular matter is under UEEF jurisdiction. But the voice that's saying it, you can't see his face because of his hat until he steps forward. This is under the orders of Admiral Rick Hunter. Stand down. I won't ask again.
She has a small smirk on his face, knowing that Rick was at least one of the backers back in that time, so it was only a matter of time before he showed up.
Prana's about to object, but she's like, very well. I'm not going to try and get into a civil war with a war hero. Do what you will with them. This investigation is concluded. At which point Rick steps forward and goes, "Sia, or whatever you're calling yourself nowadays. You and the rest of your team need to meet with me in private now."
Understood. Over short comms. This is Commander Jereg to Hannibal Team. We're going to be meeting in a private quarters with Admiral Rick Hunter. Wear your dress uniforms.
Of course, hearing that, my eyes widen because me being the man I am, I know who the fuck this guy is, and I know how big of a deal it is. In fact, I would bet dollars to donuts I probably worked alongside him at some point during the last war.
Not directly, but everybody's gonna know who that is, and the fact that he's on the base is a case of the not fucking around stage has begun.
The man who's the admiral of the next super dimension fortress after the one? Yeah.
At which point I'm also explaining to the diva why they need to stay behind, and more importantly, why they absolutely need to behave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one way to do it. Shia can see you because you're still in the hangar talking to the diva. He walks over to Dave. Actually, Parswell, it might be beneficial for the diva to speak up too. Rick may want to talk to us about more than just the SSCG.
You have a point, Commander. All right, diva, let's get you dressed up. You need to look your best for this one.
With that,
Considering I'm in my quarters, I just start getting ready.
Yep. With that, she is going to follow Rick while everybody else does their getting ready.
Mhm.
And I assume that this is where we're going to take our break.
Yeah, we are going to take 10 before things get even more interesting.
Alright, you heard it here, folks. It's time to grab your drinks, grab your snacks, take a little trip to the bathroom if you need it. We will see you back in 10.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Though things have gotten plenty heavy. And to those shocked with how heavy things have gotten, I will note that it's going to get worse. Which, according to some, may be the watchword of the Russian Navy.
What Navy? Most of it's lying at the bottom of the ocean.
Putting aside the time that they end up pissing off 3 of the major powers with their own incompetence and almost started a war with Britain just because of how dumb they were being.
Indeed.
Huh. But oh yeah, and almost starting a war with Sweden. Go look it up. But you're eventually led into a private meeting room with a lot of the privacy filters turned on. This is essentially a spare room that's been made into a makeshift meeting area. Rick is sitting in one of the chairs, just having a waiting look on his face as he waits for the rest of the team to come in. And after about a minute, the rest of Hannibal team comes into the room. All of them dressed in the equivalent of Class A.
Yep.
Yeah, all of them, everybody with their dress blues on. And he does stand up, and there's the question of whether or not you're going to be saluting him.
I mean,
Out of
Of
respect for
course.
who he is, I'm definitely.
she-
I'd immediately salute.
she obviously salutes.
Mm-hmm. He steps forward a bit, and it looks like he's examining the 4 of you like you're passing inspection. And then looks right at Sia and simply goes, "That was an interesting tactic," and then immediately just punches you right in the stomach.
She steelmans it.
Do you have any idea how much of a lucky son of a bitch you are right now?
Well, Admiral Hunter, I don't think it was luck when even your interference was all according to Father's plan.
Kahir stiffened tightly. But she knows she can't react in front of the good Admiral.
As much as I would like to hit you a second time about that remark, I can't deny it. Your old man was always thinking one step ahead. I wouldn't be surprised if he had planned years before we had even met. But
Well, I know he introduced me to you when I was just a kid so that you'd remember me.
speaking of, take it off. I'd like to
Of
at least
course.
see the face of the little brat who was in my care all those years ago.
So, Leovon reaches up, grasps at both sides of the mask along the horns to click the tabs to essentially cause it to cinch from the headband. Pulls it down and off. His back is facing the rest of Hannibal team at this point, but the mask is now off in his left hand, off to his side. He says, "It's been a long time since we've been face to face, Rick."
Indeed, I'd say a little over a decade.
Since the Reign of Fire, which they used as a fucking cover to kill my family.
I'm well aware. By the time, and I would have intervened if it weren't for complications.
You and the UEF had a more important mission. There was nothing you could do.
Still, a very bold move to send a pirate broadcast across the whole planet.
I'll admit, I didn't see that one. That was Dad. All Dad.
So let me ask one simple question. How did you come across that black box? No one.
Dad,
I didn't even know about that.
Dad gave it to me before we were all wiped out. It's been with me all these years.
He gave you the black box, and he distributed those keys.
Yes. Left the last one with little Ailey behind me.
Kahir is shaking with absolute rage at this point.
Ailey, Leovan turns, and I am going to use Leovan. Turns and looks at the rest of Hannibal team. What you see is the face you saw on the pirate broadcast, were it, well, 30 years younger. The same piercing green eyes, the same fiery red hair without any touches of silver, the same sharp lines and smirk. But his gaze is directed past David and Dirge straight to Kahir and says, "Come now, it was for your own protection." Before turning back to Rick.
Don't give me an excuse to punch you a second time.
If she had ever known who I was before this moment, if she had been convinced 100% of that, she would have put herself in harm's way. I wasn't about to let my little sister die for those reckless, greedy money grubbers.
Well, in that case, I believe you owe me a measure of thanks.
I do.
After all, even with your talents in encryption, there's no way that you'd be able to redact a whole name of that stature from the database.
I know.
And that applies just as much to you, Kate here.
Ailey.
Ailey.
Yeah, you'd know her as Ailey.
That applies just as much to you, Ailey.
And I owe you a very deep debt of gratitude for that, Admiral.
You can pay that gratitude by making sure that things don't get any worse.
She shoots a glare over at her brother. I'm going to do my damnedest on that.
A grin you haven't seen in 13 years. The same grin that your brother gave when you were both getting into shenanigans on clan grounds shoots back at you. It'll be just like old times.
Regardless of your sibling rivalries, officially speaking, Xia is still the commander of Hannibal team. However, you all, as far as the chain of command goes, will be under the UEF's chain of command going forward, if at the very least to keep you off of the backs from the more prying eyes of the ASC. Because
that is good.
That being said, I still expect you to perform to your level on this ship. But if it weren't for the fact that I was already nearby, then I think this would have gone significantly differently. You may have even been put up on the wall for essentially hacking virtually every network on the planet.
It would have been a sacrifice worth making, and Ailey would have still been around to complete things.
Now that being said, that brings us to the manner of this. It's quite clear to me that the people who use the Reign of Death as a cover had hoped that Dr. Kirk would have been able to figure out the generator. since he wasn't able to, either through incompetence or through lack of ability, it's clear that he hoped his own Red Typhoon project would be a suitable replacement. He was after all working on that right around the same time the SSCG was being developed. Now, go on.
If I'm being frank, the Red Typhoon wouldn't have generated nearly enough energy.
You think it would have underperformed compared to the SSCG?
Yes, but in all due respect, Rick, most energy generation underperforms compared to a controlled supernova.
Can't argue with that. Now then, I'm not sure how much you were aware of it, but seeing as I was one of the sponsors of the project, I can inform you at the very least that within the UEF we have made some headway into it. We just didn't know, and I believe you happen to know something about the final step, because even if most of the clan and the materials were destroyed, you know that your father left one little ace in the hole.
He did. He left an entire surviving SSCG, the Alpha prototype.
Kahir, well, Ailey, in this case, jerks her head up. Are you serious?
Leovan looks back. Yes, there is a surviving SSCG. If there hadn't been one, there'd be no reason to have a black box or a hidden location or any of the keys, because then all that would be left is the research materials and various parts. But an entire surviving prototype means that we have a chance.
I just figured that the schematics would have been on there.
Nope.
Dr. Kirk had the schematics. He just couldn't figure it out.
And this whole time, you just see Dirge's eyes lighting up and drool coming out of his mouth.
At which point, David just smacks him upside the head. Now is not the time. Fanboy.
Bear in mind, he is actually your commanding. He's a rank above you.
No, he's not. They're the same rank.
No, he's not. I'm rank 3.
So am I.
Yeah, they're the
we're
same
equals.
Rank.
So
Whereas I'm rank 4.
Actually, no, I'm rank 4.
Oh wait,
How the hell are you rank 4?
Because I took a rank at the beginning.
Fuck off.
Told you.
No, okay.
I know what I'm doing next level up.
But no, looking back at both David and Dirge, Leo actually smirks a second. Why do you think I had you two encouraged to come to Hannibal, team?
At this point, my eyes narrow a little bit like, okay, Dirge I get. Why me?
Why else? Look at your goals. What are your goals, David? You're not some asshole seeking fame or glory. You're a man who just wants the fighting to stop, frankly. One of the veterans that sees there is no glory in this war.
Oh, shit. That sudden dawn of realization that, yeah, things do line up. Well, oh, I appreciate the thought.
Oh, you also have Admiral Hunter here to thank. He heard a few things from when you were in the first war.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we've probably fought alongside each other a couple times on different sides, or on different teams.
Oh,
It's an honor to meet you, by the way, Admiral.
I've heard quite a bit about you. The dog of the tank division.
Not my finest hour, I admit.
But I suppose that level of stubbornness is what we need. Is what we will need in the coming battles. Now that being said, we do find ourselves at a interesting crossroads. With the, as we speak, technically speaking, ownership of that alpha generator is in the hands of this idiot right here. He says he's pointing directly to Leon.
Leo just smirks. As the only and eldest scion son of Clan Furinia, you are correct.
So, and because Clan Furinia was a independent clan with its own governing body. Consequently, I nor any senior staff of the ASC or any member of Global Defense, such as your Agent Vici, can compel you. Sorry about that. Discord decided to mess with me. Because of that independence, technically speaking, on this matter, I cannot compel you to hand over the coordinates for that generator. So I'm simply asking, as someone who was your surrogate parent,
Tell me
the coordinates for the alpha generator, and we will see if we can utilize it within the current technologies that we have.
It's a place you already know, Rick. It's the oldest base out beyond the shadow of the moon.
Of course he would hide it there. Much like you, he had as much of a flair for the dramatic as any member of that clan.
I did always take after dear old dad.
More ways than one.
Once again, that. Or go ahead.
I just said David just smirks.
Yeah. Once again, the mischievous grin of childhood that you know so well flashes back at you, Ailey.
Don't even start, Leo. I am very pissed off with you. You
So-
are lucky we are in the presence of the Admiral right now.
Leo just gives you another very familiar face of sad lion eyes.
Not gonna work.
You'll get over it. Don't worry, Ailey.
Get over it.
Leo is, of course, giggling to himself at this point.
I lean over to Dirge. I think it's in our best interest to keep those two within eyes distance at all times, because otherwise I think shit's gonna hit the fan.
Get over it, Leovan. I've spent the past 13 fucking years looking for you.
And it kept you safe.
I would have been safer with my big brother there.
I'm not so sure about that one. They were looking. And two of us together in close quarters would have been a tempting target. I made myself as obvious as I could be without being so obvious they knew it was a trap, so that all eyes were on me.
Doesn't mean I haven't had my fair share of brushes.
I know. I've kept up. I've kept quite a few eyes on you. Again, why do you think you got into Hannibal team as well?
You, in the middle of all of that, you hear Rick going.
Sorry, Rick. You were saying?
Apologies, Admiral.
Continuing onward. Since you've given me where it is, give me a moment. You see him pull out a pad. It looks like he's sending an encrypted message and then puts it back. As we speak, one of the squads of the UEF is sending in retrieval. They are under specific orders to secure the generator and make sure that it is properly operational, which if your father's report is any indication, it most likely is.
Is he okay?
Now, that there is a great deal of potential that can be done, and if we had more time, I would certainly wish to see that potential realized. But given the circumstance, all that we can do is prepare. At the very least, if I've had some very lively conversations with that legate person, and in doing so, I gained the understanding that at the very least, his legion will not make any move against Earth. As for the counselor, that is another story. Yes, he told me about both of them and the feud that is going on. The counselor still wants the diva, and he will do whatever it takes to get him. Because of that, I'm not having you all move to my ship. As far as anyone else is concerned, Hannibal team is still a joint venture between Global Defense and the ASC. And if any sort of court martial comes further, then you will be under the jurisdiction of the UEF. But I would prefer not to have that crossed. If a whole joint operation unit suddenly moves between organizations, that's going to cause a whole lot of complications. I'm not a politician, but I'm no stranger to moving in those circles. You all should be aware of that. But more importantly, anyone who is not in an active combat zone will be doing their best to prepare for whatever this oncoming storm, these Invid, are. I've gotten some reports of them, but even that is somewhat minimal. The only thing that is really known when it comes to them is, unlike the Troilians, who have somewhat humanoid adjacent biology, the Invid are more akin to plants. Highly advanced plants, but plants and completely biological. I realize that's not a whole lot to go on, but it's the best that we have when it comes to the limited info. I think one of the key priorities, if we can secure the SSCG, is seeing if we can convert or create a miniaturized version of that technology to use within things like Destroids, Bioroids, and Veritech fighters. And Rick turns to Dirge on the matter and says, "I think your expertise will be crucial in that matter." What say you, Dirge? Neff, you alive?
He's probably still got a glazed look on his face, not having heard a word.
I don't know if Neff is at his computer or not.
No. He's just thinking about, what can I build? What can I build? What can I build? What can I build? And he's running over everything in his mind.
Kahir gently elbows Dirge.
Huh? What?
Our world is doomed.
Now that being said, I have to take my leave. There have been some reports about flowers propping up on parts of the planet that are demanding my attention.
Flowers?
You all are dismissed, and for the love of God, don't make my job any more complicated than it already is.
Wait, flowers? If these Invid are plant-based, He
By
just
by the
stops.
time you say that, he's walked off.
Well, he's thinking about it. He's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think all of us just are like, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? But as we're walking out of the room, I'm gonna pull K-Hit aside. Because I can see the writing on the wall, and I want to nip something in the bud before this becomes a disaster.
While they're paused, Ailey is going to reach behind her and unhook the tension band on her wig, and she's going to pull it off and shake out her hair.
Whereas Leovon has already put the mask back on since we're going to be going back out there.
Considering I've already ousted myself, there's no use in hiding. And
Oh, that's gonna take some getting used to.
considering that she has really, really long blonde hair that is currently braided down her back, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna pull K-Hit aside. Look, let me talk to you less as a soldier and more as someone who's been through a lot of personal experiences. I know how much Leovon, apparently, has infuriated with you with his plans. I get it. You were looking for him this whole time, and now here he was right in front of you.
You don't
Practically-
get it.
Hold on, let me finish. Maybe I don't, but I do get this. I can see how furious you are. And I know you're going to want to give him the riot act and who knows what else. But all I'm going to suggest is this. Look at it from his perspective, just for a second. He had the weight of all of this on his shoulders this whole time. And on top of the death of your family, which you also carried, he had this secret he had to hold on to and keep safe, and keep you safe. Yeah, maybe he didn't do it the best way, but he did what he felt was best. So yeah, you can be angry for him hiding from you this whole time, but don't hold everything against him. Hear him out fully. Just understand his side of things, even just a little bit. Or you go full force in his face. Trust me. He's carrying as much weight as you were.
Another thing you're gonna have to get used to doing is calling me Ailey.
It'll take some adjustment, but I'll get there. But yeah. Just remember what I said, Ailey.
If you had even one iota of understanding of what transpired before the broadcast went out, you'd understand how pissed I am.
Maybe I don't know the full story, but I also see in his eyes something that maybe you're not seeing because you're blinded by the rage. It's hard. Again, even if something big happened earlier that I don't know about, I also see what he's looking at right now. He did all of this because he knew that if you were exposed, the last connection he has to your family, to his family, would be gone. How much do you think that'd break him?
Just as much as it broke me. And with that, Ailey's going to turn on her heel and stalk down the hall.
That girl's
I
gonna
just
be
turn to him,
really-
shrug, and start heading off to doodle designs.
And I
If
just
anybody was
say
to
out
go
loud-
in Dirge's room, it would look like the conspiracy meme with it just being covered in blueprints.
As she walks up, I just simply say out loud, "That girl's gonna get herself hurt." Great.
is going to do the smart thing and not even try to attempt to go near Leo. She's going right to her quarters, and she's locking herself inside. However, those that are passing by hear absolutely feral screams. And lots of crashing.
She forgot her privacy screen.
I look at it as the privacy screen can only do so much. It's much like how you can suppress the amount of noise something makes, but you can't get rid of it completely.
You can in an anechoic chamber.
Which this won't be.
I know.
Like, for example, all the bullets that were shooting to destroy the box.
Yeah, but that was also some fun things there. Nobody else was really paying attention to me at the time. Because, the entire ship was panicking.
No, I'm good.
But as things end up going onward, and obviously after that meeting, I'd imagine Leovan has put the mask back on.
Yes. Before I even left the private room, I put the mask back on.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have everybody knowing I'm alive.
And fortunately, because of the whole privacy thing, the only person who's the only people who've seen you without the mask aren't going to be in the position to talk about it.
Yeah.
But you do. But after the cleanup, you do end up getting a call from of all people, Dirge, who is very excited to show you what he has planned.
He called Leo?
Yes, because
Okay.
he wants you to. Because as the most experienced when it comes to high maneuverability mech, I'd imagine that he wants you in to see what he can come up with. Because if I'd imagine that with what little Dirge has been able to put together regarding the thing, he could make the fastest mech possible, a mech that might even break the sound barrier several times over.
Yep, since they already do his jets.
Mm-hmm.
And a few other things I was thinking about too,
Alright, so Shia, now remasked and everything, does go back over to the hangar where Dirge is, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. I think in this situation he'd be in his quarters, jotting everything.
Yeah, I'm not letting anyone else see this.
Okay, well then I do indeed traipse over to his quarters.
And seeing that the floor, the walls, the ceiling are all covered with blueprints and notes that you couldn't possibly read.
Well, Finley, it looks like you've been rather productive.
All right, I need details. Give me details. Everything. I want specs.
You want the specifications of the SSCG.
That's what I said.
All right, well, you're going to have to wait till we get to that base then.
How big is this thing?
The original SSCG would be the size of most small cruisers' star drives.
Damn it, I need something smaller.
Well, as Rick stated, he's going to look into miniaturization for Veritech uses. But remember that this was only ever made into a prototype. And it was originally made to do things like power ships, power space stations, power cities. That was the initial intent. and miniaturization would come later.
So
I
think
heard mention of somebody had the plans of it already.
Dr. Kirk has the schematics.
Can I get them?
Over shortwave, over shortwave radio. Dr. Kirk, this is Commander Shiacherig. I need you to deliver the schematics we talked about the other day to Major Dirge Finley.
you don't hear anything back, but what you do see is Dirge's computer light up with a message that contains these schematics.
And he's now glued to the computer reading.
Yep. And of course, back over shortwave. Thank you, Dr. Kirk.
And as this is going on, Dirge does see that first off, these schematics are he understands. You can understand why Dr. Kirk couldn't crack it. And even you would have a bit of trouble with it, but no, because of the fact that you guys are trying to do this together, I want both of you to make a roll to see if you can make some headway.
All right.
Well, obviously, I'm going to be using Science that with Mad Thinker and Engineering Elements, so...
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I have a skill that covers that, Monk.
I would actually say you do because you could use omnipresent.
I could. All right. And of course, I'm going to say that this invokes my mysterious past, even though it's not a mystery anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's still
tied to your past, so I'm still counting it.
I am too, which at least gives me edge because I'm in my mysterious element.
Okay, so I'd be getting an edge at least with the Engineer element. Would the talent knock it up to advantage?
Yes.
Okay. I figured he'd get the advantage because he's the, Here's my roll. 4 and 5. Monk. 9 successes total.
So, you do get a grasp on how the thing works, the way matter is applied to it, and so on. And moreover, how this thing could be configured to create an effect similar to space folding, but without protoculture.
Oh, this could be good.
And Dirge, you already figured out that if you can miniaturize it, you could allow a mech to have a degree of short-range teleporting, essentially.
I grab him and I'm just like, we could make mechs that fold by themselves.
You wouldn't have to attach a fold drive to the fighter mode of a Veritech?
Exactly!
See how fast you can implement that.
He's already starting to sketch.
Yep. But as things somewhat start to die down, the scene shifts a little bit into David in his room with the diva. The diva asks a particular question. You said family was an important thing. So why are Siet and Kathir so tense to each other?
Yeah, this is a very unique situation for them, I'll admit that. Here's the thing, Diva. Those two had most of their family destroyed. Wiped out of existence over petty greed. It's pathetic. At least that's what I'm getting from all of this. That kind of loss, it leaves a scar on you. When you're that tied to your family, when you feel that close to them, the loss of it can hurt. And when you're hurt like that, it can lead you to do some very dangerous things. And more importantly, that feeling of whatever connections you have left, you will do whatever it takes to hold on to them. For Shia, or I should say Leovan, he had to do whatever he could to protect Ellie. Ailey, I should say. Ailey. He had to do whatever it took to protect Ailey. Even if it meant he couldn't let her know that he was still alive. And that hurt her. Because all she wanted was to be with him again. That need to protect can sometimes lead to damaging results. It sucks, honestly. And I don't see how there would have been any way to prevent that. But now that they're together, they've got a lot of issues they've got to work out. But here's this thing you may not have noticed, because this is one of those things you have to look deep for. While they are hurting and angry and ready to kill each other in some regards, deep down, their love of their family is still there. And you watch. Once they get all their shit hashed out, you're going to see that family bond become stronger than you've ever imagined.
I'll take your word for it. You know how alien this all is to me.
Oh, I know. This is a whole new world for you. But trust me, you'll see it. It won't be immediate, but just keep watching. You'll see it.
As long as neither of them put me in a hole.
Rest assured, I won't let them do anything to you. This is between the two of them by themselves. None of us have anything to do with it. All we need to do is step in if things get a little out of hand.
While I'm at that, how is the legate? I know that you'd met him.
He's doing good. He's in our custody much like you are now. He surrendered peacefully and no harm has come to him. And he's talking with our superiors about the Invid and everything that's coming. We're learning a lot from him.
You do see that he's a little bit uncomfortable with the mention of Invid.
I would take a moment to ask how he feels about the legate.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I said something to him.
Yeah, I could hear.
You could hear us on the mic. We weren't that quiet there.
I thought I covered it well enough.
My mic.
Oh, dirt.
How sensitive that thing is?
Fuck you.
Anyway, well, I'm gonna take her suggestion. Like, out of curiosity, Diva, what is your feelings on the legate?
The legate is a hero to my people. He's a bit stubborn. He's certainly bullheaded on the idea of protecting the fellow Troilians, but he's never had anything untoward me. I
got that
believe
vibe.
You would call him a good man.
Honestly speaking, I got that vibe from him when we first met, or both times we met. He didn't fight us. He didn't make any proclamations, and he made his only demand, well, really his only plea, was to keep you safe. He didn't even ask for you back. He could have easily done it, but he didn't. That speaks volumes about the man, and if I'm being truthful, he's earned a lot of my respect.
I could certainly see it, but I think you will have more pressing matters very soon.
Sadly, I don't doubt it.
That storm he talked about, that is going to be coming here. whether it be because of the actions of the Troilians, or because of the technology you all use, they will be coming. And I hope the people of this planet will be somewhat ready for them.
Well, now that we know they're coming, we will prepare. And if what Leovan's secret has anything to do with, then we will have at least an option. But let me ask you a question. How do the Indved appear to you originally? Because you heard what Admiral Hunter said earlier. Investigating flowers. Should that be of concern to us?
If there's that, then you may have to prepare with a bit more haste. Is all I will say.
That's what I was worried about. Do I have any way to contact Admiral Hunter?
No.
Shit! Alright. In that case, I'm gonna immediately contact Leovan. Though I'm gonna call him Shia for the sake of his privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Commander Jarek, this is Carswell speaking.
Speak.
You remember what Admiral Hunter mentioned as he was leaving earlier?
Yes.
I just spoke with the diva. I think we need to make that a priority. Those flowers may be an early warning sign.
All right, I'll get word to him immediately.
I appreciate it. Carswell out.
Understood. Of course, she does have a line to Rick, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to keep in contact and do stuff in the background. And advises him about David's findings after talking with the diva.
Mm-hmm. But with that said, that it's at that point that we're going to end this particular session. This was always going to be a short one because well, the next few sessions, things are going to start getting real.
Fun.
And with such a worldwide broadcast, that's going to have its own consequences.
Yep.
But that is a story for another night. So with that said, as always, a sincere thanks to everyone who took the time out of their schedule and braved the hell of time zones to come all the way to the temple and enjoy the particular brand of madness that happens around here. And normally I would say we'd be back with more of Robotech next week, but next week is the last week of October, which means it is time for our guest spot. So for next week, an old friend of the temple will be making his visit as we visit the roaring 1980s, where all hell has broken loose. Quite literally, I might add.
Well, fun.
Hey, that's my kind of place.
Lovely.
So until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Fuck Harmony Gold.
Yes, fuck Harmony Gold.
In the ass.